The Stream Deck Plus from Elgato is finally worth buying after recent plugin updates finally open up dial functionality. Hi, I'm Haaris, and a month ago I impulse bought both the original Stream Deck and the Stream Deck Plus, and I live streamed my unboxing with the Stream Deck Plus. It was my first time ever using Stream Decks and indeed physical programmable macro pads. I'd previously been using TouchPort on my iPad to control OBS, but that was only limited to OBS, whereas the Stream Deck has functionality across several programs and your actual system, and I've been using it pretty much daily and consistently with my streaming, my gaming, shortcuts. And my thoughts on the Stream Deck Plus now are the same as they were then, unless you are already integrated in the Elgato ecosystem, as in you have either or all the lights, the microphone, and the camera. The dials are very limited in what they gave you over just being able to have the pads and the buttons themselves. Pretty much all I could do with the dials, having nothing else from Elgato, is individually control the audio of, say, my browser. I was watching YouTube, Discord if I was trying to chat down, my video editors. If I was watching something on Netflix or Disney Plus, I could turn the volume there. And that was pretty much all I used the dials for. Now, as several content creators have stated, you can program the dials as hotkeys, i.e. the button, the dial left, the dial right. They all pass through hotkeys. And if you were clever, you could add some more functionality of your own without having to make your own plugins. But that was too clunky for me, and I'm not really a hotkey person. Now, credit where credit's due. If you bought a Stream Deck Plus, Elgato unlocked usage of its Wavelink software, which until recently you had to have owned a Wavelink microphone to use. And even though a lot of streaming experts and content creators I've seen have said that they prefer Wavelink over the equivalent software, which is what I use, which is Voicemeeter Potato. Personally, I found the functionality of Wavelink very limited compared to what I use Voicemeeter for. And from what I can tell, Wavelink is fine if all you want to do is mix your audio for your streaming, in which case it's actually exactly all you need, and you probably don't need Voicemeeter. This gives you everything that you need and gives you the kind of simplified but functional mixing options, monitoring, everything like that. However, I use my Voicemeeter to mix my audio, not just for if I'm streaming, but basically just using the computer in general. I have multiple audio outputs, and I like being able to choose which sound comes out of which, being able to switch things out of fly, change different application volumes, change the way that I do video calls, etc., etc. And for that, Voicemeeter Potato is actually probably overkill. Like, I don't use a lot of the stuff here. Like I said, it's basically a virtual soundboard, and my audio engineering skills are passable, but not to the point where I can basically tell you what these dials would do all the way over here. But I can't drop down from this to Wavelink business. And actually, the main reason why I wanted to buy the Stream Deck Plus was so I could have a tactile, physical way to change the levels of my audio. And I was actually considering buying the PC panel when I saw it recommended on a YouTube video, because that seemed kind of what I wanted. And actually, I was going to buy the PC panel Plus, or XR, can't remember what it's called now, which had dials and sliders. It kind of felt pretty cool. But then Elgato announced this, and I was like, well, it doesn't have the sliders, but it has the buttons and the touch screen, and I think I might be more prone to go to that. So I bought it, and I knew that Stream Decks were compatible with Voicemeeter, the normal ones were, and I assumed that was also going to be the case with the Stream Deck Plus. But then I bought the software and the device, and there were no dial compatibility with Voicemeeter, and the reason my GoPro is playing up and keeps cutting off, so I'm going to move to my webcam, which isn't as good as quality, but whatever. Where was I? Oh yes, so there wasn't any dial functionality for the Voicemeeter. We still had the buttons, so I was still able to mute and control my audio if I wanted to change the levels. I could program buttons to do that, but that wasn't the same functionality as what I wanted. But that's now all changed because Bar Radar, who creates the voice meter plugin for the Stream Deck, has updated it. And now if you already have it installed and you go to the Stream Deck software and you click the dials, you can see that the voice meter now appears with two options. One option to adjust your gain, and another one to adjust some settings. And if on my Stream Deck I scroll across to where I have these settings right here, so I have them in style DAC, so I can switch between different inputs that I have named. And coincidentally, there are 4 types of buses and strips in voice meter, so I was able to have the 4 slots with each of the 4 things, so I was able to easily find the one I wanted because I knew which bus and slot it's in. If you don't know what bus and slot means, don't worry, if you ever use voice meter, you'll quickly learn what they mean. It's just the different kind of portions of volume controls. And now if I want to change, say, the gain on my studio microphone, I can just spin this dial and watch it go down and watch it go up. It's a bit jumpy for some reason, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's mostly a graphical thing. The numbers still increase when you slide them up and down, and that's great. And I can press the thing on the touch screen. It'll unmute it. You can see it being reflected. If you didn't have the dial stack enabled and you just had it programmed without the different layers, pressing the dial stack would also mute that layer. So that's exactly what I was after. I mean, like I said, looking at the thing here on the screen, there's a bit of lag. I turn the dial and then about a second later it reflects on the number. I don't know if you can actually see it there, but you can see it on the screen here, so I'll just overlay that. So that's the only downside, but I mean, that's a limitation of what it is. It's not a lack of functionality. And what's even better is not only has Bar Radar introduced that functionality now for dials for voice meter, they've also put it in for OBS. So you can now have dial functionality to adjust the sound levels of your input devices directly in OBS. So you don't really have to worry about mixing the audio through voice meter. If I go straight into my OBS profile and then scroll across to where I have this scene set up, and then here it is the levels for what I'm doing right now, and I can boost it up. Well, no, I can't boost it up because OBS is 0 as its maximum, but I can drop it down and then you can't hear me anymore. And then I can drop back up again and you can hear me at my normal volume. And this, like the voice meter, has that kind of delay where I turn and then a second later it will show the levels, which isn't great. It does it on here. On OBS itself, it's actually very, very responsive with the levels. So if I was watching the levels on OBS, I can basically fine tune it exactly how I want it. The feedback display on the actual Stream Deck is a bit lacking in terms of responsiveness, but the responsiveness on screen is pretty much just real time. And last but not least, the Discord volume mixer plugin has also received an update. So if I go into my thing here, this is what we used to have for the old system, where it was just the buttons. And if I click my fingers and travel back in time to when I was playing D&D earlier, you can see it in action during an actual call. It dynamically updates each column with the people who are in the room, and you can switch between the different pages to see more people. And the buttons just increment up and down in 5 percentages, but the dials do the same thing, but you can use tactile functions to spin around. So with these new additions to the OBS plugin functionality, I can honestly now say, if you were planning on buying the Stream Deck Plus to make the most out of the dials, but you weren't someone who was in the Elgato ecosystem, you weren't using Wavelink, then now is the time where you can go and buy it. And if you use something like Voice Meter, or if you just use OBS, you can use the dials to dynamically change. I keep saying dynamically, that's not the right word. I'm not going to correct myself. Well, I am. I'm doing it now. Whatever. Look, it's almost 1 a.m. What do you want from me? It's Friday. Well, it's Saturday now. I'm blabbering. This is what I do. I'm doing so well. Now is the time to buy my Stream Deck Plus if you want to have that native tactile control over your audio for broadcast, or just mixing how your computers sound. So thanks for watching this video, and my thoughts on the product, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.